Welcome to our Homebuyer Seminar. I'm Bill Gross at Bill Gross Probate and Social Media, along with my good friend and colleague
Patricia Castillo.
and our good friend and lender.
How's it going, guys? Shannon, the lender.
Get together. We can talk about buying a home, whether it's your first home or your next home, and one of the topics that have come up. And Patricia is an expert in the area, and I know nothing about it. Are some of these first-time homebuyer grants. So talk a bit about how does the aperture of opportunity grow by looking at these first-time homebuyer seminar programs. I'm sorry, first-time grants.
Yes, so I'm really excited about the down payment assistance opportunities for buyers because there's so many. And we've talked about them before, but I think one of the really important things that we haven't covered is the educational piece for the listing agents, because a lot of listing agents are not familiar with some of these down payment assistance programs. And if the buyer is making an offer and the listing agent is going to present their offer to their client, which is a seller, they also have to be educated on the homebuyer grant, what the time frame is, and how it works, because this is going to essentially make your offer more appealing, and it could get accepted, right? So that's really important. And I'm dealing right now with a buyer that I'm working with. He's looking for a single story condo. Found him one, beautiful place. It's been updated. And we're using 3% of his own funds to put down as a down payment. But the closing costs are going to be covered by the down payment assistance grant. The grant is forgivable after 3 years. So if the client does not sell the property or refinance in those 3 years, then they do not have to repay the $35,000. The $35,000 can be used to pay all of the closing costs and or buy down the interest rate to lower their monthly payment. So when I sent the offer to the listing agent, she was not familiar with the program. And so I explained it to her. Um, we, I had originally requested a longer contingency period because there's a couple of things that can happen. If you're dealing with a really experienced listing agent, then they're really going to stick to the time frames, and they can send a notice to perform 2 days before the actual contingency is due, right? So you have to know who your realtor is working with when they're submitting offers to the listing agents. If you have a listing agent that is a little more relaxed on the time frames, then they may give you the extra contingency that you need to get everything wrapped up with the homebuyer grant. So let's say your offer is accepted and you open escrow, then in this case, Shannon, he's going to send everything to the lender we're working with and to the County of Los Angeles, to the corresponding department. They take about 10 days to review the package and reserve the funds and give the approval. But there's still some more underwriting that has to be done, and then the funding still has to occur. They still have to send the funds to escrow. In the meantime, they're also making sure that the first loan, the primary loan, is also getting underwritten, it's approved, and that has to also fund. So in this case, the last contingency that's in place for the buyer to protect their earnest money deposit in escrow is the loan contingency. Usually it's 17 days, and that's usually enough time to get everything wrapped up and remove the last loan contingency. Because at that point, the buyer's moving forward with the loan, the lender's getting ready to order loan documents, they're tying up a few last minute conditions, and then the loan documents arrive in escrow. And so I didn't want to, I knew the agent I was working with was going to be pretty tough on the contingency periods. And you being a first time buyer, my client being a first time buyer, I didn't want to stress him out with possibly getting a notice to perform, right? Because we wouldn't be able to perform in 2 days if we're dealing with the County of Los Angeles. So I have a verbal acceptance on a longer contingency period for the loan, which is going to help my client get the $35,000. And in this whole process, I'm educating the listing agent, sending her thorough emails that are explaining the entire process so that she can feel comfortable accepting our offer, and not her personally, but explaining it to her client, the seller, so that they can make the decision to accept our offer and move forward. So that part is really important. It's the educational piece when you're dealing with down payment assistance, because the realtor has to be very knowledgeable that's writing the offer so that they can be able to explain it and the process and the guidelines to the listing agent, because essentially those two agents have to work together to make the home run, right? So Shannon also got involved because there was another lender that called Shannon earlier to ask him questions. And tell us a little bit about that, Shannon. You were interrogated just a moments ago.
I was. And I mean, that's what we're here to do, right? Is to make sure that the buyer, that we are the face of the buyer, right? They can't speak for them. We are representing them. So we have to make sure that we put our best foot forward. And yeah, this is going to happen sometimes. And for people out there who are looking for down payment assistance programs, nothing's for free, including there could be overlays and guidelines. And for us too, as your professionals, we are put under more scrutiny because of these programs, right? There could be things where, hey, the listing agent wants their lender to call, your lender, which is me in this case. And yeah, just interrogating me about, what does this person do? Tell me a little bit more about the buyer. What is this FICO score? How much money does he make? Right? What are the timeframes for these programs? And luckily enough, if you as a buyer have done everything you've needed to do, which this buyer has, I mean, this guy has an 800 FICO score, 800 plus FICO score. He has a good salary. He's been working this job for a while. So it was almost an easy sell, right? There's nothing that I see that he could deny him. Now, if you're looking for down payment assistance and the minimum FICO score is 660 and your FICO score is 663, right? It gets challenging. But again, what these seminars built for you guys to do is to position you guys in a way where you can win. And especially in this market, I rarely see this where the agent was just like, this is too long. I don't think this is going to work. And then apparently emails Patricia back with some other terms. So, hey, if we can do this, it can work. And again, I actually haven't never seen that, right? It's because my first call, just to be frank, was just like, hey, this is, just the tone was just, I don't want to go into it. But again, just for her coming back, this person, whatever, coming back, I think just this is a good market if you're looking for down payment assistance to utilize it, because I don't think this offer would have probably gotten accepted maybe in 2020, right? 2021.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
So, this is just the right time. And there's also down payment assistance. There's levels to down payment assistance, right? There's, state agencies, and it's down payment assistance. And then there's city local grants. And these are some of the most, how do I put it? I mean, these are some of the most toughest things to get, which are grants. Because one, funds could run out. They couldn't, right? In this case, funds are there. Number two, right, you're waiting on city employees, right? And I can just stop there, right? And number three, like Patricia says, we also have to still get them qualified for the first loan, right? So everything that we have to do for a normal loan, we still have to do. On top of that, dealing with the city. On top of that, making sure timeframes are met and things like that. So yeah, I mean, you could get, grilled 1,000 different ways on, hey, how can this go wrong? And you know what? I don't blame the listing party for doing that, right? They're doing their job. That's what they're meant for. But you as a buyer, if you're watching this, if you're listening and you want down payment assistance, and I always tell people this, it's out there. It's out there. It's available. It's possible. And now, specifically right now, I think is a prime market for you to take advantage of these programs. Because again, the competition isn't as fierce with certain properties, right? Obviously, you guys have a property in Montebello that I don't think the grant would probably fly, right? So I don't think it's, just the market, right? But the market plus the property, has to match, but it's out there. And if you work with a great agent like Patricia that can really break it down to agents and explain to them, present the offer well, counter them well, right? Who you choose as your professional really does matter, especially in these situations. And on the lending side, I would say there's always three parts to a loan, right? There's the credit, down payment, and income. And in this situation, if you're doing a down payment assistance, you better make sure the other two are very strong. Your credit's very strong and your income is very strong, because this down payment assistance, I wouldn't say it's a scarlet letter, but it does raise a lot of flags for the other side, right? And I don't know if you know, but the person flat out told me this, can this person even afford this, right? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, technically they have the 3% down, right? They just need these other funds. So I know that that's not the 100% maybe the answer that they wanted to hear, but the answer is that we can get it done.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
And just
I don't know if
because
you
a
want-
buyer has more capital in their account doesn't mean that they want to deplete their account and use that for closing costs.
That's so
I mean,
true.
If you
So
can get
true.
$35,000 from the County of Los Angeles to cover all your closing costs, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right?
And
So we do the soft pre-qualification first, where we're verifying that the buyer meets the county's requirements. That way we know that once we submit the application, we have a 99.9% that it's going to get accepted.
yeah, and that's actually a really good point. And now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of the people that I do help with down payment assistance, they do actually still have money. They're just smart about it, right? Hey, if there's money out there to be used and utilized, like you said, why deplete all your savings? Which I have seen, hey, people put everything they have into it. But
Right.
if you don't have to do that and you have the income, you have the credit, why not utilize these services? So, people
Programs
say
are out
programs are out there, there's help. If down payment is your only issue, it shouldn't be after watching this. Yeah. So, this is the time, guys. It really is the time. I haven't seen something like this in a while. Like I said, I think 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago, this wouldn't have been possible. So
Right.
take advantage now while you can.
Yeah, we had multiple offers on a property, and I can't get the details because we're just in escrow. But I would say the right loan officer might have made a difference. They made a strong offer, but he wasn't really there, and the other buyer was cash, and the difference sometimes isn't all that much, and oftentimes cash isn't really cash. I would say my experience, half the time cash is dependent on something else. But that said, a loan officer who's going to be involved and be qualify you properly, have all the documentation, call the listing agent. If they're proactive, I call them before we'll accept an offer. I always call the buyer, the loan officer. But when they call me first, it tells me they're proactive, and that's important too. So, okay. So what else we got going on?
Yes. So, well, the other thing I wanted to mention, this is not so much outside of home buying, but regarding selling and buying. We are with eXp Realty, and our brokerage is known as a brokerage without borders. So I recently helped one of my clients buy a second home in Havasu, in Lake Havasu, Arizona. I'm helping another client right now sell a property in Washington. It's a probate. So these are opportunities that, services that we offer. If the opportunity is there and you have a home that you've inherited, or you have a home that you're looking to purchase, we can definitely help you, even if it's outside of the state of California.
Nice.
Yeah, I had Patricia and I worked on a probate portfolio, and they have properties in Las Vegas, and I happen to know a really good real estate agent in Las Vegas who sold 1 or 2 houses already, closed, and is getting ready to sell another one. So definitely we can work around the country. If you need some help, give us a call.
That's
Excellent. Okay. Any open houses this weekend, Patricia?
No, I have another couple of other buyers that I just recently came in contact with, and going to be showing property this weekend.
Fantastic. Somebody can get a hold of you. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
My cell phone, 323-365-9909.
Great. Shannon, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, my Instagram, FUND Fun with Shannon, or you can reach out to my cell phone, 661-317-8484.
And I'm Bill Gross, at Bill Gross Pro on social media. If I can help any way, reach out. We do this every week, new episodes on Friday. If you have questions, we'd love to get your questions, comments, put it down below. We'll get back to you. Reach out if we can help. And in either way, make today your best day ever. Thanks so much, everybody.